Very good question. There are actually two things that I need to talk about here to give you an answer. The first is gladiators and how they met their end in the arena, and the second is that figure with the hammer. Generally speaking, the end of a gladiator is likely to manifest in two main ways, either through the fight itself or submitting and then being told that that was their time, and the other gladiator would then dispatch them, and we're told that they were trained to receive this and accept this. When it comes to the character with the hammer, that largely comes from an observation made by a Christian writer called Tertullian, and he wrote an account of the games of Carthage at the end of the 2nd century AD. Amongst the many observations that he made, he noted that there were two figures to be found in the arena in the midday games. The first was a character dressed as Hermes, or rather Mercury, and he was charged with, in Greek myth, and I think Roman myth as well, guiding the souls to the underworld, and he'd carry around with him a wand. Now this wand in the arena, we're told, was heated, and what he'd do is he would test the bodies to see whether anyone was still alive. The second character was dressed as Jove's brother, and Jove's brother is an allusion to King of the Underworld, and he would walk around with a big hammer, and he would drag the bodies out of the arena. Exactly what the function of the hammer was, we're not told, but I think there's an implication there that if anyone was still alive, he would quicken their passing, let's put it that way. The really important thing to note here, though, is that though Tertullian uses the word gladiator and gladiators, this most likely applied to criminals. It wasn't gladiators involved, unless it was the gladiators doing the nasty stuff. Midday, as we know from earlier writers such as Seneca, was largely reserved for mass executions. You'd have common criminals being dispatched in the arena in a number of gruesome ways. So it's likely that these two figures were associated with that event. They weren't associated with gladiators. The world of the gladiator, as I've mentioned in previous videos on the gladiator, was ripe for the odd urban myth, a really good example being the "we who are about to die salute you" thing, which never happened with gladiators. So I can easily imagine why this has got fastened to it. Now, we do have quite a lot of accounts of gladiatorial fights, and we also have mosaics and sort of depictions of them. We can't find anything relating to the character with the hammer in any of them. So I think it's easy to say, or easy to argue, that this was something that was quite unique and very specific, perhaps, as I've mentioned, for that midday entertainment where it was ultimately just mass butchery for criminals.